Hello and welcome to another episode of Statford Bridge. Chelsea by the numbers. Chelsea win in the Club World Cup round of 16, 4-1 against Benfica in a pretty strange game. I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on it, but the short of it is that Chelsea did some interesting things. The first is that they played a 4-3-3, Cole Palmer as a left winger. If anyone tells you it's a 4-2-2, they're lying to you. It at no point was a 4-2-2. It was a 4-4-2 defensively. But it was interesting in that Cole Palmer was the one to jump high on the press, and then Cucurella would jump, rather than having Enzo Fernandez jump, and then one of Lavia and Caicedo jump, and then having one of Colwill and Badiashile jump. I think one of the things we saw with Chelsea last year is that you end up in situations that are really bad for the back line if you do that all the time, but the distances are worse if you have one of the wingers jump. And it honestly mostly worked for 85 minutes prior to the weather delay. Chelsea gave up basically nothing. I think Benfica had something like 0.1 XG in the first 86 minutes of the game. They get a penalty in injury time. It is what it is, but they gave up nothing. In transition, in possession, nothing. I thought it was pretty comfortably the best Chelsea's press has looked in a really long time. A really, really, really long time. And on the flip side of that, if you kind of look at the headline metrics, like Chelsea put up 0.6 XG in the first half, two decent chances fall from our Cucurella, quite good chances actually, like a 1v1 and a cross to the back post. There's not a ton of other great value in there, but there were a lot of moments that were almost moments. Like, I thought Liam Delap had a very poor game, and if he has a better game or it's a good Jackson day, for example, there are many situations that Chelsea create a lot more, particularly in this first half, and are coming away pretty nice. In the second half, it was not great, but it was similar in that Chelsea had a lot of moments that they could have killed the game, did not. Weather delay for Lightning, fluky penalty, Reece James scores a fabulous free kick, a really, really clever free kick, and you go to extra time. The other thing that was interesting from the lineup, other than it being a 4-3-3, was that I think we got the best five for build-up. Like, I think if you were to say, Kieran, I need you to pick 6 players for Chelsea to build in a 3-2, and then for one of those players to go be high or hold width or whatever, these are the 6 I would pick, and this is how I would pick it. And it would be James, it would be Colwill the middle of the 3, Badiashile the left of the 3, Lavia and Caicedo. I think that's probably the best way you would do it. There are other considerations that I wouldn't play Lavia there. But Chelsea in possession until Badiashile goes off with a hamstring when he's kind of recovering out of a weird scenario into depth. They were unpressable. You could not win the ball off of them. And if you look at this game in comparison to like previous games, Chelsea for 70 minutes were disgustingly on top. 180 opposition half passes to 34, 17 box touches to 4. Like, just a tremendous, I think in terms of field tilt, this would be, if you do the math, this would be like 90% field tilt or 80% field tilt. Just tremendous ability to keep the ball in the attacking half, and then in terms of keeping the ball in possession, but also in terms of suppressing transitions, because not only do you have 3 center backs in the build who are all unpressable. James, Colwill, Badiashile can all dribble past people, are all very good passers to break lines, are all very good keeping the ball between them, are all very good in terms of deciding, am I going back to Sanchez or am I keeping it here? You also have Lavia and Caicedo, who are a pretty good pivot in terms of keeping the ball. Not amazing in terms of progressing it, but pretty good in terms of keeping it. And Caicedo is a phenomenal transition defender. So in the counter-pressing moments, you just have like snap, 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 snap. And it was, I thought, for 65 minutes, like maybe the best Chelsea have looked in, I don't know, 2025, maybe? Like, it was very, very, very good. Against the Benfica team who are No slouches. They beat Bayern. Like, they're not terrible. I thought they didn't look very good, but not a terrible team. Instead, you have a lightning delay. Benfica get a penalty. Malo Gusto like whiffs on a cross at the back post, jumps doing the YMCA. Ball hits his hand. I saw a lot of people complaining about this as a penalty decision. I don't like that it is a penalty decision, but as the rules are written, it is a penalty. I don't think the punishment fits the crime. Like, I don't think it's such a tremendously valuable situation that you should give people 80% chance at a goal for it. But as the rules are written, it is like the most Stonewall of Stonewall penalties. He jumps, he's waving his arms around because that's what he does, and it's a penalty. It hits his hand. The thing that comes to mind for me in this is that, one, why is Malo Gusto on the pitch? It has now become a trend that Malo Gusto comes on and cannot defend crosses to the back post, and it hurts Chelsea every single time. They lose the Flamengo game explicitly because of mistakes he makes. They start off in the Conference League final on the back foot because of a Malo Gusto howler. Like, he just clearly cannot do it. And so when you compare to the Esperance de Tunis game, where Tunis were not amazing, they got legitimately nothing the whole game because Josh Achimpong is an excellent defender. He's just a very good right back, right center back who is good in the air, and he's very quick to recover, and he's good at dribbling to break lines. Malo Gusto takes his time, everything's a little bit leisurely, and he can't defend cross to the back post. Do not play him anymore. There's no benefit to playing him anymore. Like, it is to the point that I would just move on. If you can find like a moderate profit on him, just move him on and roll with Josh and Reece. Now, it's probably fair to say, okay, Kieran, that's pretty short-sighted. Reece James dies and gets hurt all the time. But the counterpoint that I would make is like, Chalobah can totally do that job very well. And I think Chelsea are getting to the point as a team where, like, you need to think about how players are going to be used, not how they could be used. And I think if you are Chelsea, one of the things we've seen is that in the reporting is that Chelsea really want to get a left back, left center back type role in their recruitment, whether that's Joral Hado or somebody else, so that Levi Colwill can play left center back. You can have a right-footed right center back, and then you can do the back three with Colwill in the middle, because Colwill is so much better when he's the middle of the three. And that means you have James who goes into midfield, or you have Josh who goes into midfield, or you have Gusto who goes into midfield. But you don't have that. You have Marc Cucurella. And you're also not going to bench Marc Cucurella for almost anybody, which means, and he's not great when he's the left of the three in possession. Like, he's much more agent of chaos, arrive in the box, counter press guy. I think you're better off doing this and having Colwill and Badiashile there, or whatever. It doesn't matter. If he's the left and you eat some of the decline of that, that's fine. And you just always have your right back stay home, whether it's James or Josh or Chalobah, and you move on and you don't have Gusto do it. And even when it's Gusto, you have Gusto go do that role. I just think it's time. I just think you've seen enough. Now that it's like, it's not the coach. It's not that he needs to be platformed differently. Like, he just can't do it. He's just not that good. He had a great season under Pochettino. That season is very much an outlier for his career performance. And it's fine. And that's where I'm at. Some other things that popped up in this game. Liam Delap cannot pass. I was told repeatedly by many people, if you go back and you watch the Liam Delap video, which is there, one of the things that I flagged up was like, this guy does not connect with others at all. He does not play good passes for other players. He does not link play well for others. He's good at winning free kicks. He's good at going himself in transition, but he is not good at connecting with others. And the counter argument, or the devil's advocate, is like, he had nobody with him at Ipswich to ever connect with or link with, so that's why he makes such terrible decisions in transition, and that's why he can't pass. And to be fair, his first game, his debut, he runs a channel, delivers a delightful cross for Enzo Fernandez to make it 2-0 against LAFC. Fairs. Did not link play well against Tunis. Did not link play well today at all. and to the point that it was actively detrimental. He like ruins a couple counters. He's like very sloppy with a couple giveaways. It's okay. He's young. The whole point of this is that he was so young and so cheap that even if he is never that good, you're going to be fine for it. I think having him and Jackson makes Chelsea a much more dangerous team than just playing him all the time. The whole benefit is having one or the other to bring off the bench and to run at people, and that you forgive some of the sloppiness in their play because they bring a level of physical impact that is tremendous. But regardless, one to keep an eye on that, like, no, he has not improved in his link. He actually is not just that capable of link play. It's just a weakness in his game, and that's okay. Other interesting things. Christopher Nkunku came on and was like very good again. When he is interested, he is a very talented player. And I will say, he came on, played as a left winger. Dewsbury Hall played as a 10. Palmer was the 9. Like very good when he is not asked to be a 9. When he is just floating in pockets and connecting things and running in depth, like he does things quite well. He scores a goal arriving at the back post. He created a chance for somebody in there. And again, most of these minutes are against 10 men. That's okay. But like actively pretty good. One to keep an eye on, particularly in relation to one of the rumors we're going to talk about later. And we also got the Human Victory cigar of an Aaron Anselmino debut, which I thought was quite funny. I thought Dewsbury Hall was also quite good when he came on as well. That's that game. Chelsea will now play Palmeiras on Friday, July 4th in the U.S., which is a holiday here. 6 p.m. Pacific time, so I guess that's like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. in the UK. Palmeiras beat Botafogo 1-0 in extra time. Estaval came off at 60 minutes. I thought he was quite good in the game. I am very curious to see how Estaval plays against Chelsea. I think this will be a really interesting league translation point for him. But this is a game that I suspect Chelsea should win actually fairly comfortably. I think Palmeiras are not quite as good as Flamengo for comparison, but we'll see. That's where the Club World Cup game is. Chelsea got themselves something like £10 million for winning today. They will get themselves another £20 million for winning the next round. They are up to, something like £50 million in prize money for the tournament already. And if you look at what Chelsea's accounts for 25-26 are going to look like, not to turn this into an accounting podcast, but with the Club World Cup money, which I suspect will be accounted for in 25-26 and not 24-25, but maybe it is 24-25. If somebody knows that for sure, I would love to hear, but I imagine it will go into the 25-26 books, is that Chelsea are going to have like a tremendously profitable 25-26 season. They're probably going to have a shirt sponsor for the whole season. I say that. They still don't have one, so maybe I shouldn't say probably. And they're going to have this tournament, which at this point they're probably going to have between 70 and 100 million pounds in prize money from. And then they are going to have another 70 million pounds from Champions League qualification and the subsequent TV rights associated with that. So Chelsea are going to bring in, before they sell anyone for profit, and there are probably more players available for profitable sales this year than there were last year, like 170 million or 200 million pounds of extra money on the revenue. And one of the things that Chelsea should probably consider when you look at that is that, and I put this out on Blue Sky, and Ted Knutson, the former founder, I guess he was always the founder of StatsBomb, was like, this is extremely nerdy. If there are a bunch of players that Chelsea want to move on from, that they will not be able to do so profitably, this is the season to lock those losses in. Like if you say, you as Chelsea, there's not really anybody in this squad list, but if you say like, hey, you know what? We're just out on Disasi. We paid 45 million. It's been 2 seasons. He was one of the 7-year deal guys, so like he's at probably 32 million left or something like that, 30 million left. We're only going to get 21. We can loan him for a year and get another 4 or 5 million and then try and get 30 next year. You should probably just move him for 24 now and lock it in. because what you want is you want the losses to line up with the profits, so that when the profits of this big tournament come off in 3 years, because you will not have another Club World Cup until 2030 or 2029, you want big losses attached to that come off at the same time. The same is true for last season, where they sold the stadium for a tremendous amount of money. Like, you probably wanted to book some losses into that season. And maybe they will. There's a thing called impairment that you can write a player's value down without actually selling them. Chelsea did this during COVID with a lot of players, with someone like Romelu Lukaku. You look at someone like Mudryk, who is going to have a multi-year ban and has 40 million-ish left on the books. It's very easy for you to say, okay, that value is actually 5 million now because we may never be able to move it. Regardless, that's something Chelsea should think about. In the transfer news, Bino Gittens got done today. Fabrizio Romano said he finished his medical tonight. The reporting that has come out is that the total value of the deal is £55 million. I have seen that reported as something like £45 million plus £10 million base fee plus £10 million in add-ons. Those add-ons have been described as quote-unquote achievable by some people. If you want my bigger picture Gittens thoughts on him as a player with the video and the stats, the video's on my channel. It'll be the video that goes at the end of this. And I like the player. I like the fit for the role he's going to be asked to do. 100%. However, there are things he does not do well, and there are things he absolutely needs to fix in his game. Not fix, but improve in his game. Like, the shot locations are so bad, and you really need to fix that side of things. At the same time, the fee is genuinely horrific. Like, this is Mudryk fee level bad. I would have probably put my ceiling at close to half of this. And if you look, like, Chelsea's first bid or whatever was 32 plus 10, something like that. And even at that, I was like, ooh, that's pretty, I wouldn't go that far, I don't think. I just think when you look at the situation, Gittens only wanted to move to Chelsea. Nobody else wanted him at this number. There's the Fabrizio has said stuff, Bayern Munich came in. I don't believe that for a second, that Bayern Munich came in at this fee. Not for one moment. And Dortmund clearly don't really want him. Like, he hasn't played at the Club World Cup. There was a thing about, he's has an illness. And I assume it's a lot to do with the transfer, but didn't play as much the back half of the season. Is a weird squad fit for how they play now. Clearly they're just not that into him. And they probably shouldn't be that into him. He's not that good. But I think Chelsea just gave away a lot of leverage here to do this deal early, which is fine. Doing the deal early is good if this is the guy you really, really want. But I think they've cost themselves probably £20 million here in leverage, where 55 plus 10, you probably could have got this done for 32 plus 10. You probably could have got that deal, I think, at the end of this. Even if it's, or 35 plus 10. Maybe. You could have got that deal done, I think. And what the add-ons are and what do you know. Especially when you consider that Lyon were relegated for financial stuff and Malik Fofana is your other guy. There's other things you could do. Regardless, like the player, like the squad fit. I hope he does really well. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he's amazing right away. I would be pretty surprised. But that deal is done, and he will not join the Club World Cup because he played for Dortmund in the tournament. But he will join, obviously, as soon as they're eliminated. The other one that came out today, more on Chelsea being fully involved in João Pedro deal. Talks taking place as Chelsea remain interested since start of June with João as next target after Gittens done. Chelsea are done. Newcastle have been pushing for weeks. The other thing that came out was that Newcastle had a bid over £50 million rejected, and so did another Premier League team. Now, João Pedro is a good player, okay? I like João Pedro. That's where I'm going to start. What I am going to say is that João Pedro is going to cost way too much money for what you want him for, and you need to do outgoings before you use him for the thing you want. So if you look at João Pedro, his Watford seasons, progressively better over time. He finishes pretty hot his last season. Watford were never very good any of his seasons there. Immediately looks very good in smaller minutes at Brighton. Some of that is as a 9, some of that is as a winger, some of that is as a 10. If you look at his match logs for last season in about 2090s, he played sometimes as a 10, sometimes as a 9, sometimes as a winger, like all over the place. That's fine. I think the role he would fill at Chelsea is similar to that he would be sometimes a 9, sometimes a 10, sometimes a winger. I think that is a need in Chelsea's squad. However, if I was to go look at Chelsea's squad and say, 9, 10 winger, that sounds like a thing Chelsea have a lot of, you would be correct. Dewsbury Hall is something like a 10 winger. You probably need to move on from him this summer. He's a player that you're probably like, we'll eat a loss on this summer. João Felix is a 9-10 winger and is also a player that you probably want to move on from this summer. Another one, you should book a loss. He is not gone anywhere yet. The third one is Christopher Nkunku, who is also a 9-10 winger that you probably want to move on from this summer. I think if you buy João Pedro before moving on from those 3 guys, or at least 2 of the 3 guys, it is organizational malpractice. Between the 3 of them, Nkunku, Felix, and Dewsbury Hall, it is probably something like £500,000 a week in wages, because Nkunku's on big money, Felix is definitely not on small money, and Dewsbury Hall is also probably not on small money. It's probably something like £500,000 a week in wages. You are going to add João Pedro, who is at Brighton, makes 50 grand a week. You are probably going to double that. So it's £600,000 a week for a backup role, because this player is not starting ahead of whoever you buy at left winger. They're not starting over Cole Palmer, and they're not starting over Delap or Jackson. Not frequently, anyways. So you have something like 600 grand a week in wages locked in for this. And then you have Nkunku's remaining amortized fee, which is probably something like 12 million a year. You have João Felix's amortized fee, which is like 10 million a year. And you have Dewsbury Hall's amortized fee, which is like 7 million a year. So you have something like 30 million plus João Pedro. Say he goes for 60, 5-year amortization, another 12. So you're talking about 42 million pounds a year. And then $500,000 a week, 600 grand a week, which is going to be another 35 million a year. So you're talking about 70 million pounds a year locked in to a backup winger 10-9 flex role. And you have not moved any of those players out yet. And you have tried to move many players out all the time and have not done a great job of it. To me, it would be organizational malpractice if you brought this player in before some of these players went out. And there's the part of this is like, is he better than those guys? I think he's better than João Felix. I think he's like better at the things you want him to do. He's younger. I think he's much better defensively. I'm cool with that one. Is he better than Nkunku? If Nkunku cares, definitely not. If Nkunku doesn't care, definitely yes. That's an open question. Is he better than Dewsbury Hall? Probably. You can also move Dewsbury Hall pretty easily. I just think you got to move off those guys if you want to do it. And it is very alarming to me that I am sat here at 9:52 p.m. on June 28th, and Chelsea have done 1 outgoing deal, 2 outgoing deals, 1, I think, in Bashir Humphreys, and that was a loan to an obligation. So let's see what happens. Chelsea play Friday. Let's hope they keep winning. I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot for the beginning of the season, but tournaments are made for winning. Let's have some fun. Anyways, that's all for me. As always, enjoy the soccer.